Okay, so today we're looking at dominance matrices, which is very, very similar to communication matrices. So in that way, we know a dominance is square binary. So that means it'll only have ones and zeros, and it's a square, so the same amount of rows and columns. So a 1 in a dominance matrix represents that the person or the thing is dominant over the other. So often they use them they talk about it in a game setting. So you'll have a tournament, and they'll be playing some type of sport and someone beats someone, and so therefore they have when you directly beat them, so say we go for say we're playing tennis. So if I directly beat Charles, that's a 1-step dominance. If Charles can beat Ollie, therefore I have a 2-step dominance over Ollie because I can beat Charles who can beat Ollie. Does that make sense? So it's like the 2-step communication, but it's dominance. And with communication can go both ways. With dominance, it will only go one way. So where there's only one person will beat. So we call the first matrix when we have the 1-step, so the 1-step dominance, we often represent that with so we'll call it the D matrix. And so we can do that. So if you have a look at this, we're setting up this dominance matrix. So they've got a round robin here with the tennis. So if we just look at A, if you look at the arrows, A can beat C and A can also beat D, and that was the only two. So if you go along the A row here, you can see there's a 1 on C and D, and there's a 0 everywhere else. So if I do another one, if you're just checking, so if we look at B could beat E and could beat C and could beat A. So if you look at along B, there they are. They've got the 1s on those things, and there's 0s everywhere else. So if you add up the rows, you get these totals. So this is the total of 1-step dominance. And okay, so generally that's how we look at, when we're talking about a tournament, whoever's had the most wins, we generally give say the winner of the tournament. But if you look here, we've got B and E both on 3 wins. So that way we're going to look at 2-step dominance to see who the actual winner is. So the way we get 2-step dominance is we just square that D matrix. So similar to in communication. So you just square it. So that matrix before has been squared. So just to make sure that you're understanding what's happening here, I'm going to highlight this 3. And this 3 is between B and D. So what it's saying, because remember we often have to interpret things, so let's have a little example. So what that's saying is that B has 3 options of 2-step dominance over D. Okay, so if we wanted to, and if we want to set them out, you would go back to who B could be. So B can obviously beat 3 people who can beat D. So we'll just go back and grab that 1-step dominance so you can see that. Okay, so if you're just looking at, this is the 1-step, over here is the 1-step, I've just dropped it in here. So here's 1-step dominance. So if you look at B could beat A, they could beat C, and they could also beat E. So if you go and look at those ones individually, you can see that A can beat D. So there's an option of one of the 2-step dominants. And if we looked at, they could also beat C. And if you look along C, C could also beat D. So there's the other option of two-step dominance. And then the third one, B could beat E, who could also beat D. So just so you can understand, because that's what they often ask you, they'll grab you one piece of information and ask you to interpret it. So I've given you one there. Okay, so if you have a look at the two-step dominance totals, so here you can look, they've added that up as well, and they've got 2, 6, and 1, and so on. So this here is the total two-step dominance. But what they often do when they talk about tournaments, they'll say that the winner is the person with the most 1 and 2 steps. So we'll see that here. So here they often say the tournament will be won by the winner of both 1. So this is 1 and two-step dominance added together. So if you add them together, you get this matrix, and then you can tally up this one, and you can see that B was the overall winner there. So there we go. So really all you have to do, if you get given a situation, you'll have to set up the D matrix and then square it and then go on. Just make sure you read what the question's saying. So, all right, so we were looking at dominance. So here's an example. It says 4 people, A, B, C, and D, have been asked to form a committee and decide on a location of a new toxic dump. And it says, from previous experience, it is known that A influences the decision of B and D, B influences C, C influences no one, and D influences C and B. It says, use the graph to construct a dominance matrix that takes into account both 1 and 2 steps. So what you need to do is, you obviously, to be able to do that, you need to first get the dominance matrix. So just to refresh, so when we have the dominance matrix, remember it's going to be a square binary matrix, which means it will only have 1s and 0s. And obviously with the dominance, the arrows will only go one way because only one person wins. So if we look here, if we were setting this up, A beats B and they beat D. So if I was filling in this dominance matrix, we will see the 1 on there. If you look, B influences C, so the rest is 0. C influences no one, so it's 0, 0, 0. And D influences C and B. So this one is our D. Now, because in the question it says they want the dominance matrix that takes in both 1 and 2 steps. So remember, to get this one is 1 step, and D squared will give you 2 steps. So all you have to do, and you can see up here, I've done it on the calculator. So that was D, and you can see where. Then I'm going to square it. So this one will be D squared. So we can fill that one in now. So 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 1, 0. But because the question wants the total dominance, and it says that includes both 1 and 2 steps. So what you're actually doing is you get matrix D, you add matrix D squared, and you'll end up with this dominance matrix, which will be, and you can see I've done that here, D plus D squared, and we end up with this one. So what this is, you've got to be careful, because sometimes they might not say, they'll tell you how dominance is just decided. And in this case, they said it was both 1 and 2 steps were taken into account. So if we look along here, if you add it up, this one was 5, this one's 1, this one's 0, this one's 3. So A is the most influential. So A is most dominant or influential, because they were talking about influencing a decision. All right, let's go for this next one. So it says, the network below shows the results of a chess competition between 5 players. Each arrow indicates the winner of an individual game, and they'll give an example. So, but it says here, the sum of their 1 and 2 steps is calculated to give each player a dominance score, and then the dominance score, they are used to rank the players. So we would have to set up our D matrix first. So just over here, I'm gonna quickly do it. So they're often quite kind, and they give you, like, so you can see they give you the alphabet A, B, C, D, E in names. So we're gonna do that again. Whoops, sorry, I'm gonna run out of room. Anyway, so we go through, and if you have a look at A can only beat D. So it'd be 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay, B can beat A, C, E. So A, C, and E. Okay, C can beat A. D can beat B and C. And E can beat C and A. C and A. All right, so it's a bit messy in there, sorry. But here I worked out, and it should be that dominance matrix up there, which it is. So that's the dominance. Now, because I need to find 1 and 2 steps, I'm adding the square. So all I did is square it there on my calculator. Then I add the 2 together, and I get this is their answer. So this essentially is the answer to the D plus D squared. So then if we add these up, this is 3, this one is, what's that, 8, is it? No, yep, 2, 6, and 7. So if we go through it, who's most dominant? Ben? What? So then we go Ben, who's next? Elise. And then we have, so Ben, Elise, then who's next? Donna, then Alex, then Thing. So here is the ranking of the order. So they're taking into account both 1 and 2 steps, dominance. Okay, question 8. The matrix below shows the results of each match between 4 teams, A, B, C, and D, in a bowling tournament. Each team played other team once, and there were no draws. Okay, good. So in this tournament, each team was given a ranking, and it was determined by calculating the sum of its 1 and 2 step dominance. So what that means is they've done D plus D squared, okay? And then they've ranked them, 1 being the highest score, and so on. So using this method, Team C would have been ranked 1. Okay, Team A would have been ranked 1 if one winner of one match had a loss instead. So what I have to do, this is quite a hard question. This is the last question in the multiple choice. So it is quite hard. So what they said is that this was how you found the winners. So I went and did that because obviously they gave me D. So I found that, and I said D plus D squared, and here is what the answer was. And I could see when I did that, so when I saw that happen, we saw that, what did they say? C was the winner. And we see that, yeah? So C was original winner. So what they said is one game is going to change. So that means you're going to change something in the D matrix, and one game's going to change. So someone's going to get a win and someone's going to get a loss. And when they did that, it means A would have won. So if you look over here, if you look at the original scenario, you can see A came third and B came second. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that would be a game to maybe change. So let's see how if you have a look and you see what happened when they played each other. So when A played B, it actually lost. So can you see that? So B, it lost to B. So I'm thinking, well, I'll give that a go. I'm going to swap that one round. I'm going to let A win and B lose. So here, I've done the swap. So I've done the swap here. So I've swapped A to win. And so this has created the new dominance matrix. So here you can see that. So then I squared it and I added D plus D squared and I see what happens. And when I do that, yes, I get A the winner. So what game did I swap? I've picked the A. So what was a guess? Yes, but because I looked at it, it's pretty educated. Hopefully that would be your first guess. If you're looking at originally A came third and B came second and you want A to win, I would have gone with that first, gave it a go, and it did work. Okay, 5 people. 5 people, India, Jackson, K, L, and M, all competed in a table tennis competition. Each competitor competed once and each resulted in a winner and a loser. And here is the matrix tournament below. So when they do this, just make sure you put a D there so you know that's a dominance matrix. And they will once again always give the blurb on how a dominance matrix works. And then it says, there is an error in this matrix. The winner of one of the matches has been incorrectly recorded as 0. Which match is this? So in a dominance matrix, between the 2 letters, there should always be a 1 and a 0. So if, for example, if you have a look, so I'm just going to say J and I. If you look there, that's a 1. So if you go down to J and I on the other combination, it's a 0. So you should always see a 1 and 0 between 2 letters. So somewhere in there we see a 0 and a 0. And can you see who it is? So, all right, someone's saying I and M. So if you look here, between I and M it was a 0, and between M and I it's also a 0. Oh, I had it highlighted anyway. So yeah, so that game is incorrectly. Someone had to win or lose. So it was between I and M, so it became India and Mustafa. Okay, let's do this. It's another one. It says 5 teams, A, B, and C. They're in a volleyball competition. They all played each other. Here's the results. So, and then it says here, in 2007, the team with the highest 2-step dominance. So all you have to do is add up D squared. So you have to be careful. So we created D, and we won't go through it, but we've created D, and then we squared D, and then we added up just the D squared, just 2-stepped. And so that's where you've got to be careful. Read what they ask. So in this case, you've got A, B, C, D, and E. So who won here? It was Team B. Sorry, this should be 7, but they're still the winner, yeah? Okay, the graph below shows 1-step dominance between 4 farm dogs, K, L, or Kip, Lab, Max, and Nim. In the graph, so the arrows, so from this graph, it can be concluded Kip has 2-step dominance over who? So if you want, you could, like I found D and then found D squared. And if you see Kip has 2-step dominance over, and if we're looking at the 2-step dominance, you can see Kip has a 2-step dominance over L and N. So you can have a look at that. If we want to just check it out, so we're going to go with, it would be the C. But if we want to just check it out, let's have Kip. If we start at Kip, it can beat someone who can beat someone else. And you can see here, here's that 2-step dominance over Lab, because he can beat Max, who can beat Lab. And then who else can he beat? He can also, he's got 2-step dominance over Nim, because he can beat Max, who can beat Nim in 2 steps. They're the 2-step options. Okay?
Okay, question 4. 5 staff members in Eleanor's office played a round-robin video game tournament where each employee played each of the other employees once. In each game, there was a winner or a loser. Their table of their 1-step and 2-step dominance is summarized below. So what they've done here is, this is 1 step is your actual wins, yeah? And that will set up, this would be the sum of when you add up the rows in the D matrix in the dominance. So this would be dominance matrix added up, and this one would be the D squared added up. Okay, so, and then once again, they explain that a 1 means that you win. Now, it says use all the information provided and complete this result matrix. So this result matrix is, they're talking about win and losers. So really, they want matrix D. So we are looking to find matrix D. All right, so if you have a look, and what would help is that, you know, when you add up all the rows, you want the wins. And we can see up here, we have the wins. So Ike should add up to 3. Jolene should add up to 3. Katie should be 1, which we've already got there. And Leslie should be 1. And Mickey should be 2. Okay, so if we go through and we go through a certain thing. So, well, first of all, I'm going to highlight this one. So we have a 1. If we have 1 here, so what we can see is Katie beat Leslie. Now, if you look at Leslie only had 1 win. Now, if Katie beat her, then we need to put a 0 here. That one we know. So if you want, I'm just going to write up here in red, K beat L. Therefore, we wrote Therefore, we wrote L to K needed to be equal a 0. So we've done that one. So I can fill that one in. Now, so if we look at another one, so if we look at, we know Katie lost to M here. So M beat Katie. So if I go over to Katie, I can put a 1. Oops, sorry, I'll do it in the colour. I can put a 1 on the Katie there. So I'll write that out so you know where I got it from. So K lost to M. Therefore, M to K equals a 1. So we did that. And obviously, so Katie obviously lost to everyone except for, because she only had 1 win. So because she only had this 1 win, which we've already got, so Katie also lost to I. So we're going to put the win on I, and we're also going to put the win on J. All right, so we've got those 2 there. So if you look at yep. Okay, so now we're gonna have a look at some other things here. So we need, if you're going to have a look at say Ike, was it Ike? Now Ike needs to have 3 wins, and we only got, at the moment, we're only sitting on 1. But if you have a look at, and so does Jolene. Jolene has to have 3 wins as well. But if you have a look at the 2-step dominance, remember, if you have 2-step dominance, it means you can beat someone who can beat someone else. So because Ike is a winner for 3 games, but he needs to lose to someone else. So if you have a look though, what I looked at is that this Mickey here, Mickey has a high 2-step dominance. So if you look there, because it actually has 4. So if you look at Mickey has a high two-step dominance. So that means that she can beat someone who can beat a lot of other people. So I'm suggesting to me suggests she beat someone who won a lot. Yeah, she beat someone who won a lot. So what I did is I had a go, and I'm going to say she's going to beat Ike, who had 3 wins. So I put a 0. So I put a 0 on Ike, and I put a win on Mickey for Ike. So that means, because she had to beat, I'm going to say she either had to beat Ike or Jolene, because she had that big, long, large two-step dominance. So when I do that, it then allows me, well, she then ends up with the 2 wins, so I'm done with her. And then I can probably, because Ike has 2 losses, I can now fill him in. He would win the rest. So then you watch everything else plays out. So Jolene lost to Ike, and then you can get her 3 wins. And if you look at... Leslie needs to beat someone. So we're probably going, she doesn't have any two-step dominance, so we accept 1. And so we're probably going to give her, there's her win there, her other win. Okay, so she's not going to beat, because we know Leslie got beaten by Jolene and Ike, because we've already filled them in. So we're left with she can only win against Mickey. So once you've done that, so that was D, then what I did was I squared it, and what I did, I put that D in and I squared it, and I made sure that I got the same two-step dominance that I did, and it worked. So I know that this is the correct dominance matrix. Had I not got it right, I reckon I would have swapped around the Mickey dominance, like I would have maybe given it to Jolene and had a go there. Okay, so there was 2 options to try. I just picked the right one at the beginning.